I've had this old and gray weathered crotch walnut sitting at the front of my shop for over a year now. I actually have two pieces of it, and I've always wanted to make something interesting out of it. And so this video I'm going to actually make a wooden planter, basically a bowl. Now I don't have a lathe, so I'm going to rough this bowl out on my old 1925 Oliver bandsaw. I've always wanted to use this bandsaw to rough out a bowl, so I'm going to give it a shot today and see how it works. I also want to thank the Great Courses Plus for sponsoring this video. I'll tell you more about that in a little bit. So the first step is to use a divider here and just draw my circle onto my section of wood and just rough it out on the bandsaw. Now with it roughed out, I use a low-angle jack plane to flatten the top surface. That way I have a flat reference point to run it through the planer. So I'll send it through a few passes on each side, just get it all parallel and leveled out. That way I can work with it on the bandsaw. So I've set up a jig here using a board basically that's screwed to the bottom of my table, and then it screws from the bottom of the board up into my blank at the center of the circle, and it's just a matter of rotating the blank through the blade like you see here to cut a perfect, I think we're at about a 9.5 inch diameter circle. So with the bowl established as a circle now, I want to start shaping the radius on the bottom. So my first thing I want to do, nice catch. First thing I want to do is tilt the table to 45 degrees and reset my jig and cut a chamfer on the bottom edge of the bowl. Now I don't normally keep the bottom door of my bandsaw open, but you cannot keep it closed and tilt the table. It is a design flaw in the saw, so you have to open that bottom door to tilt the table. I don't think it's the original bottom door. I think it is a door that was put on at some point and it wasn't designed properly. So it's the same technique. I'm just rotating the blank through the blade, and I'm cutting a fairly large chamfer along the bottom of the bowl. So now you can see I've tilted the table down. I don't know exactly what angle I'm at here, but I'm just cutting off another section up above my chamfer just to kind of put almost like a radius on the bottom of the bowl. It's actually a segmented radius. So with the bottom part segmented out, I just need to rough out the bowl section. I'm going to use a power carver. That's the quickest way to go about this. I could use a gouge, but that would have taken a long time. You might notice here I've switched to a different cutter head. The blue one was the previous one. This is a gold one. It's a little finer finishing cut to help smooth things out. I'm not worried about refining the inside surface here. This is going to be filled with dirt. So I just need to have that material out so that I can plant a plant in it. I don't care about it being smooth and nice. So with the bowl part dished out, I want to take the work I did on the bandsaw and refine that into an actual curve and radius using my spoke shaves. And this is just a fairly quick process of just knocking off all those high spots on those segmented curves and just working it down until you have a nice gentle curve across the whole bottom of the bowl. Always love it when my daughter drops in to check things out. She's super creative and she loves messing with the spoke shave.
Oh, look at that shaving.
Longer.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a little hard to work. And
It is hard sometimes.
Yeah,
Hold on to it. Don't drop it.
even heavy enough.
Okay, now you try it on your own.
And get it.
Hey, look at that. Good job.
Your turn.
Okay, so tomorrow what we'll do is we'll put a plan in it. Do you want to help me do that?
Yes, you mean today?
No, we'll have to do it tomorrow.
Why?
Because we're going to have to finish working on it first before we can put the plan in. But you can help me do it tomorrow, okay?
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
I'll make final passes going across the grain just to kind of smooth out the curve and make it a little bit nicer. I don't want to make this a perfect curve. I really can't make it a perfect curve. You can only do that on a lathe. I want it to feel like it was hand shaped. Now the final step is to add some texture to the bottom of the bowl because you're going to be looking up at this planter. So I like the idea of having some cool faceted texture from my gouge. I think it looks really neat, and the way the light hits it adds a lot of character to the piece. Now I've poured epoxy inside of the bowl and let it sit overnight. That just seals it. Hopefully it'll help protect it. And it's the next day here. I'm laying out where I want to drill my holes for my rope with dividers, essentially fitting a triangle into a circle. There's a lot of math involved with that, which I didn't do any math. I just sat there and played with my dividers until I got it figured out. And so I'll use my marking gauge to actually put a pinhole where I want to drill with my drill bit, and it drops down about an inch from the edge of the bowl. So while I'm finishing up this bowl, I want to tell you guys about the Great Courses Plus. It's actually a really cool platform, and the funny thing is when I mentioned to my dad that I'd be working with him, he told me that he was actually a customer of theirs, which I thought was really cool. He's a pretty smart dude, so I feel like if my dad uses it, it's probably a really good product. Now what they offer is a subscription on-demand video learning service, and these courses are taught by some of the top professors from Ivy League schools and other great universities across the globe. These experts have worked in places like National Geographic, the Smithsonian, and the Culinary Institute of America. They have a huge online library of over 11,000 video lectures to pick from in a wide range of topics. We're talking about things like science, math, history, literature, religion. So it's a really wide range, and it's a really cool product because you know it's being taught by people who really understand their field and what they're talking about. For my video, I wanted to learn more about gardening. Now, if you've watched my channel for a while, you know I made a herb planter probably about a year ago. The video did really well, but the plants themselves did not do so hot. I killed them off in about a month. So I was very pleased to find that there was an actual container gardening course on the Great Courses Plus. It's a six lecture series by Melinda Myers going through the process of planting plants in containers. Things like soil preparation, picking containers, drainage, what types of plants to use and how to plant them. I found it really helpful and really informative. Now I'm going to go recommend you check out the course Shop Essentials. by Professor Del Bernard. It goes through a 7-lecture course on woodworking. So I would highly recommend you go check that out. The Great Courses Plus is offering you guys a free trial. All you got to do is go to thegreatcoursesplus.com/Andy Rawls and start your free trial now. Now I just want to thank the Great Courses Plus for sponsoring the video, for helping support the channel. And now let's check out how this planter turned out. So I was originally planning on hanging it outside, but I just liked the way it looked so much that I decided to put it inside next to our dining room table. And I think it turned out awesome. It looks really cool. We put a fern in it, and it's just a nice touch to the house. It adds some character. I think it looks really cool. I'm really happy with it. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I appreciate you tuning in.